All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a really calm, thoughtful look at Aarohi's psychological journey across Europe. And we're not just looking at this as some standard travel diary, right? This is a deep, intellectual study of a total personal metamorphosis. We're going to track this evolution through her closing phrases, these very specific, carefully chosen words she uses to sum up individual moments. Basically, these phrases act as the punctuation marks of her soul's growth.
But before we actually map out her travels, we've got to understand her baseline. We have to know where she started. Aarohi originally describes herself as a classic yes girl. This is a young woman who is completely bound by invisible rules from her hometown of Meerut. I mean, these were rules that literally clipped her wings before she even knew she had them. She never stepped outside alone, her father held her hand to tuition, her brother escorted her to college. It's a life entirely built on waiting for permission, avoiding risks, and, above all else, just staying safe.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll cover safe but not strong, testing the hidden wings, romance and reality tests, sins, sweetness and identity, and finally, wings over bones.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1, Safe but Not Strong. This really is the core thesis of her journey.
It all boils down to this one profound quote. India prepares daughters to stay safe, not strong. This closing phrase from the prologue is an absolute game-changer. It reveals that her intense, almost paralyzing panic at the immigration counter wasn't just standard travel anxiety. No, it was the heavy result of a lifetime of being conditioned to wait for Papa or look for a chaperone, rather than actually being taught how to navigate the wider world on her own 2 feet.
And you can really see the stark contrast laid out here. On one side, you have her deep-rooted Indian conditioning, guarded by family, constantly waiting for permission, and prioritizing safety. But on the flip side, the European reality is totally unforgiving. It demands solo navigation, making your own independent choices, and above all, staying strong. This harsh external reality is exactly what's going to force her internal evolution.
Moving right along to Section 2, Testing the Hidden Wings. This is where we witness those very first tentative flights into freedom.
We start to see these beautiful early triumphs. First up, she's visa victorious, meaning she finally conquered the massive bureaucratic nightmare she calls the apostille storm. The hardest legal hurdle is officially cleared. Next, she finds herself dream-dazzled by a tower tease in Paris, watching the Eiffel Tower playfully peek over rooftops until its sparkle surprise turns her cinematic dream into reality. And then, she's Swiss-sweetened. She actually softens her deep-seated fears through the simple kindness of Swiss locals, like a train conductor handing her chocolate with a warm smile. It's this rare sweet moment where her anxious Meerut bones find perfect harmony with the majestic Alps. Then we get to this brilliant phrase, wings checked. It's literally like a metaphorical pre-flight safety check for her newfound independence.
Picture this scenario. Her husband is busy, and for the first time, she has to go out completely alone. Now, just before this, she had experienced Paris unmasked, right? She saw past the romantic movie filter to the city's real shadows, the bracelet scams, the bold reality of the sexodrome, and realized she needed to be strong. So she boards a solo tram, clutching her ticket like it's a parachute. She navigates the concrete maze of law defense, where a terrifying, invalid ticket error at a locked gate almost triggers her childhood helplessness, but a kind guard simply nods and lets her through. She pushes on, walks into a store, handles the language barrier all by herself, and buys a winter jacket with her own money. By stringing together these micro-victories, she proves to herself that her wings weren't gone. They were just hidden. And now they are finally ready for solo flight.
All right, Section 3, Romance and Reality Tests. This brings us to what we call the €99 verdict. As she expands out of Paris, the continent really starts testing her soul. She compares the incredibly tough, harsh resilience she had to learn in the freezing hell and heavy history of Berlin against the pure, old movie magic she felt walking on the Charles Bridge in Prague. Hence the phrase Berlin experienced and Prague romanced. But as she moves into Northern Europe, the tone shifts dramatically to stern reality.
Because honestly, these were just standard travel hiccups. They were profound reality tests. In Zurich, losing a phone completely strips away their digital safety net. In Vienna, she gets hit with the confusing veg-chicken debate, which is a hilarious but real shock to her strict vegetarian diet, reminding her that words mean very different things across borders. Surviving those chaotic, freezing €99 bus rides taught her the ultimate lesson. Travel isn't just sightseeing. It's a complex puzzle of personal responsibility.
Okay, moving into Section 4,
Sins, sweetness, and identity. This phase is all about finding her inner queen.
Take a look at this pairing. Amsterdam wondered, Brussels warmed. Wondered captures her pure curiosity, and frankly, her initial shock at the bold, unapologetic reality of Amsterdam's red light district. It was a completely different world. Meanwhile, warmed points directly to the incredible comfort of Belgian hospitality, eating hot fries and sharing the joy of a royal birthday celebration right in the city square.
This all builds into a beautiful series of emotional victories. She notes how Diwali glowed, boat cheered, snow played. She gets to experience the warmth of a foreign Diwali, a champagne anniversary toast cruising on the Seine, and the absolute magic of her first real snowfall. She also has this moment where Charts whispered, a quiet, sacred connection in a cathedral, where a simple cheek greeting made her feel like family instead of a tourist. As she finally learns to look past the superficial tourist filter to see the true honor and history of Paris's icons, she pens the phrase, "Paris dazzled." The city's light just completely permeates her perspective.
Which brings us to an incredible moment of self-realization. After surviving the exhausting halls of the Louvre's royal jewels, and then bending her mind with the wild inside-out modern art of the Pompidou, she arrives at the stunning phrase, Velvet Aarohi, Eau de Parfum. She actually goes to a perfume museum and crafts a custom fragrance, fresh bergamot mixed with earthy sandalwood. Choosing this specific perfume is a deliberate, powerful act of self-creation. It literally symbolizes the exact moment her scent becomes her identity. She's bottling the memory of her own transformation, stepping fully away from that anxious yes girl and into her own power as a queen.
And finally, Section 5, Wings Over Bones, the ultimate rebirth.
To finalize this transformation, she physically descends 131 steps down into the damp, bone-lined walls of the Paris Catacombs. This forces her to confront her deepest, darkest childhood fears. She is walking straight through the empire of death, surrounded by 6 million forgotten skulls. The claustrophobia is intense. But navigating this literal underworld makes her realize something crucial. True rebirth requires a literal funeral for your old fears. And out of that darkness comes her definitive closing phrase, "Fear bowed, death faded." By walking through the most terrifying corridors of the catacombs and emerging back out into the bright Parisian sunlight, she definitively buries her past. She realizes her inner strength is so much greater than her societal conditioning ever was. The yes girl is officially gone. This profound realization perfectly summarizes her entire journey. Indian cities make you forget yourself in the crowd. European cities make you face yourself. The strict silence, the biting cold, and the rigid rules of Europe taught her attention, personal responsibility, and ultimate courage. It wasn't ever really about seeing pretty buildings. It was about the quiet, incredibly powerful knowledge that she was becoming someone she had never met before.
So, as we wrap up part 1 of this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What are the invisible rules in your own life keeping you safe instead of strong? Aarohi found her phenomenal strength by stepping right into the unknown. Maybe it's time we all take a closer look at the rules clipping our own wings. Thanks so much for joining me for this calm, critical exploration. I'll see you in the next one.